I recently saw an article which stated the following, that most people incorrectly assume that a company or an entrepreneur, quote, makes it just because of a big, bright idea. But the reality is that the majority of successful startups in the business world have the following things in common. Number one, they don't necessarily have a brighter or better idea than their competitors. Number two, they hardly ever are the ones who come up with the idea. And number three is that they typically work on the same wavelength of ideas as their business rivals. So then how is it that some companies succeed and some companies fail? And the answer is that the difference is execution. It's taking the idea and not allowing it to just be an idea that comes and goes, but taking the idea and bringing it into practice and action, executing on the idea. And for us as individuals, the same thing is true in our lives. How many times are we solicited for a particular project? Whether we're solicited for our resources or whether we're solicited for our time, or we have an idea of something that we want to do. And in the end, we don't end up doing it, not because we didn't think it was a good idea, but because we just have a problem executing. The Chidah explains to us that when it came to the door, the generation that built the Mishkan, there was something that was unique, as found in our Parsha. The Parsha tells us, basically speaks of all that was brought to the Mishkan. So the Parsha says, Vayavo kol ish asher nisa'o libo. And every man whose heart was motivated brought with him, v'chol asher nadva rucho oso, and whose spirit made him bring, heviu as trumas Hashem. They brought the truma, they brought their contribution. So why do we need to know this? So the Chidah says that normally human nature is such that we have an idea, we think of something, we have a good idea about something, and we don't lead it into practice. We don't follow through. He says, when it came to the door, the generation of the Mishkan, the miracle, the intellectual miracle was that people had an idea of contributing to the Mishkan. They said, you know what, I'm going to give this piece of gold, or, I'm going to give this piece of copper. Whatever it was, everyone without exception was able to follow through and execute on the idea that they had in their mind. And I think it's such a powerful lesson for us in life that when we have that moment, when we see something and we say, that's such a great idea. That's such an incredible project. I want to be part of this. And then life happens and we get busy and we tend to forget about things. What a bracha, what a blessing it would be that we would be able to be like the door, the generation of the Mishkan, that when we had that idea, that we would be able to follow through to execute and bring it to fruition. And just as businesses are successful if they are able to execute, so too we can also be more successful in life if we focus on making sure that we're able to execute when we have an idea which is positive, will help others, and ultimately will help us build and strengthen our own character. Thank you for listening, and have a good Shabbos.